With the immigration issue, in particular, the exorbitant welfare benefits that go to immigrants and illegal immigrants, and as a stretched thin American myself, I can't help but ask, what exactly are American taxpayers even paying for anymore? Seriously, we work, we save, we pay taxes. Well, we get to keep as much as the IRS allows us to keep. And then we find out that more and more of that money is being redistributed through a welfare system that seems to have no off switch. As a libertarian, or simply as a productive, tax-paying American, that's frustrating. But it's exactly the kind of predictable outcome you get when government combines massive welfare programs with centralized immigration policy. Sadly, and aggravatingly, a majority of immigrant households now receive some form of government assistance, including many illegal immigrants. According to the Center for Immigration Studies, roughly 53% of immigrant households use programs like Medicaid, food stamps, cash assistance, or Section 8 housing. And that's nearly double the rate for native-born households, native-born Americans. They also receive additional benefits like the child tax credits and the earned income tax credit, thus making the total burden on taxpayers even larger than most official statistics capture. Whether these estimates are perfectly accurate or not, here's the bigger issue that shouldn't be controversial. If government offers large taxpayer-funded benefits to anyone who can just sneak right on in, it shouldn't surprise anyone when people respond to those incentives, including illegal immigrants. And that's really the heart of the matter. Libertarians understand something politicians either don't understand or usually pretend doesn't exist. And it's this: incentives matter. Human beings respond to incentives. If our government does what it's done and creates one of the largest welfare states on earth, while simultaneously maintaining the type of immigration system that it maintains, why would anyone be shocked if some immigrants are attracted by those benefits? That's not a failure of human nature. That's a failure of government policy. Now, historically, one can possibly trace all this back to the Hart-Celler Act of 1965 and the expansion of Lyndon Johnson's Great Society programs, wherein immigration policy shifted away from emphasizing skills and toward family reunification just as welfare spending exploded. Now, whether you agree with that historical analysis or not, I think there's a broader lesson here. When politicians build giant bureaucracies, every new program creates another unintended consequence. Then, when those consequences appear, as they're wont to do, the same politicians demand even more government to fix the problems created by the last round of government interventions. This is a pattern that I cover on this podcast over and over and over again. It's like hiring an arsonist to run the fire department and then wondering why your house keeps catching fire. Now, notice something else. This debate is almost always framed as immigration versus no immigration. But that's the wrong dichotomy. From my perspective, the real question is this: why are we forcing taxpayers to subsidize anybody in the first place? If there wasn't a welfare state, the illegal immigration issue would look very different, because people who did come would come primarily to work, produce, invest, and voluntarily exchange value, not to navigate a maze and take advantage of a maze of government benefits. The welfare state distorts everything it touches, including the immigration issue. Now, what we should do, moving toward a merit-based point system like those used by countries such as Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, emphasizing education, skills, investment, entrepreneurship, and work history, even if someone supports more restrictive immigration, I think that's the direction, more of the direction America should go to. I think the more fundamental libertarian principle, however, that overrides this whole issue is that peaceful, productive people create wealth through voluntary exchange, not through political redistribution. The less government distorts incentives, in particular here with the immigration issue in welfare, the less politically explosive issues like immigration become. And here's the irony that always makes me laugh. Politicians spend decades creating these sorts of incentives, then spend the next several decades arguing over the predictable results of those incentives. Who would have guessed if the government gave out free money to every illegal, essentially, that can successfully flout our laws and sneak over the border, that illegal immigrants would take advantage of it? Who would have ever thought that? It's almost like watching someone pour sugar all over the kitchen floor and then hold congressional hearings asking why ants showed up. At the end of the day, my concern really isn't about these issues like nationality. It's about coercion. I mean, after all, we're all human beings. Regardless of the tone of your skin, regardless of your language, we're all about human beings. The real issue here is about coercion, government coercion. Every dollar taken from taxpayers through force and redistributed by politicians is a dollar that never gets invested, saved, donated voluntarily, or used to build businesses and create jobs, especially American businesses and American jobs. That's the real unseen cost. Whether we're talking about immigration, welfare, or any other government program, liberty works best when individuals, not bureaucrats, make decisions about their own lives and their own money. If we want less conflict over the immigration issue, maybe the first place to start isn't another 1,000-page bill from Congress. Maybe it's dealing with the reality of human incentive structures, and in this case, shrinking the welfare state, thus restoring voluntary exchange, and thus restoring the remembrance and the virtue and the idea and principle that prosperity comes from freedom, not from government trying to engineer society one subsidy at a time. If you deal with the perverse incentive of our out of control welfare state that even goes towards illegals in very, very generous amounts, maybe then we'd be able to comfortably kick our feet up and safely once again assume that those immigrants that wanted to come to America were not coming here to take advantage of welfare benefits that were coerced out of taxpayers' pockets, but instead were coming here to work, start businesses, and contribute instead of taking from American society.